You see that this iPad kid can't even read.
You didn't say I'm only 9.
How do we fix this? Yes, you heard it. You probably have seen little RT featured in other posts, other videos, comments, and what have you. And I'm not here to attack a 9-year-old by any means. So I just want to clarify that. I'm not even here to attack someone that potentially could be neurodiverse or they may have some delays. I mean, obviously, that's what we are here to address. And that's my question is, how do we fix this? And this isn't even a thing about it being about Black culture. We've heard from people like Candace Owens that says that Lil RT and others that may be like him are emblematic of what's problematic in the Black culture. I see this as a lot more widespread. Don't believe me, just hear what Cat Williams has said about this.
We should be ashamed. But this is a country where we don't pay the teachers and then we say the kids is the most important thing. You can't have both of them. If you do that, we're gonna end up with a generation that can't read. Guess what? Generation Z and A can't read. Why? Because who was giving them a book? We gave them an iPad or a phone, and now the letters don't mean there's no cursive writing.
Yeah, so you just heard what Kat said, and I think it's broader than just being localized to young Black males, young Black boys, Black culture, but this being a part of something that's systemic, and it's inside of Gen A. Gen Alpha is really very much alpha in terms of digital content. Like, they are real, true digital natives. The infrastructure of everything that's electronic is around them. They're surrounded with them with that, and they don't really know anything much more than that. The analog world is gone. So how do we fix this literacy thing? I mean, this is a big issue that's here. I've heard in some cases where some Gen Alpha kids are saying, well, what's the point in learning how to read when we could just have AI do it for us, right? So there's already that notion of automating everything. And just hearing what Kat said hits home in so many ways. One, because he's a fantastic comedian and he's just really able to get to the heart of the matter with fantastic velocity, right? But he also is from Ohio. He was born in Dayton. He has connections to Cincinnati, just as I do. And it hits because we're from a similar place, we're from a similar time, and we have perspectives that are really, really much the same. And if you don't know, I mean, Cat Williams isn't just funny, but he's a prolific reader. He's read literally volumes of works, and so he's able to draw from all sorts of content in that way. I'm a professor of English, and so obviously I've read a lot, I do read a lot, I write a lot. This channel is about writing, it's about literacy, it's about leveling up and living our best lives, writing our way to our best lives. And how can we do that if we're not passing that on to the next generation, if we're not finding a way to bridge the gap between the analog and the digital? I get that the digital realm is here to stay. AI is here to stay. AGI is here to stay. Sora and all these other things are here. And there's a lot to be happy about. We can celebrate that, but it can't come at the cost of some of the most fundamental and basic tenets of a democracy, of a foundation, and it's knowing how to read. So I want to know what you think, and I would love to see in the comments, how do we make kids kids again? How do we teach kids to learn how to read, to learn how to write in a digital space, a digital realm? Now, what is cool though is cursive is making a comeback, and I saw this, and I'll put the link in the description, about a lot of states, like almost half the states in the union, are now adapting cursive again in the school curricula. And there's this, what I saw about Gavin Newsom signing into law, that cursive, the teaching of cursive is to be required and we're putting that back into the schools. I know for the longest time, cursive has been dismantled. We know what cursive looks like. I always loved cursive, just how smooth it is and how all the letters just kind of flow into one another. And especially if you really get fancy with it and you make calligraphy, or you just make designs, or you just really value penmanship. I love all of that, but it looks like the lost art of writing letters, the lost art of reading it's just a problem. And the other issue is that with little RT being 9 years of age, I mean, we've heard what that means, right? When you have a 9-year-old, that's usually around the 3rd grade, sometimes the 4th grade, right in that space in the intermediary grades. What a lot of you probably know is that a number of municipalities, a number of cities have looked at illiteracy rates of 3rd graders, probably 4th graders as well too, but particularly 3rd graders. And what they have come to realize is that with illiteracy rates, particularly where they are pronounced at that age, the sad thing is that lots of times the learning gaps, the learning loss is never made up. And there is a correlation to crime. And so illiteracy rates around the age of 9 and 3rd grade has helped in part to inform how many prisons to build. Yeah, that's the thing. How many prisons to build, in part based on 3rd grade illiteracy rates. And so seeing that showcase with Lil RT is just very sad. Again, I'm not here to attack him, to attack the child, to attack the family. I want to attack the problem. It makes me think about what Malcolm X said about attacking his own ignorance. And it was a shame that he had to be behind bars to get aggressive on attacking his ignorance and reading, but I guess it's better late than never. Some studies I've shown, or that I've seen, is that there can be as much as a 25,000 page loss, a gap of 25,000 pages that are never read during the course of a K through 12 education. And so that to me speaks to a problem with literacy. So again, how do we fix this? Are we losing important cognitive development that happens when we write? There's data, there's neuroscience that talks about the power of putting pen to paper and actually writing in that analog sense. There are just certain kinds of neural networking that happens when you write in that way. And you just can't get that when you are engaged digitally. You can't even get that when you are typing and the such. So it is important to have that sort of process there. And that fits so well with the channel. When you are here with me on this channel, I hope that you have your journal with you, like an old school journal where you can actually get a pen and start writing and thinking about answering the reflective questions that I have for you, because I'm really so concerned about how do we fix this. We can read no better than we can write. We can write no better than we can read. And this is a real problem if this is emblematic of a real deficit that's happened. And this is just because of iPads, right? Or this is just because of just digital devices, period, the proliferation of them. Yeah, they're convenient. They offer a lot. I'm on one right now. So, I'm not trying to come down on it totally, but just putting it in balance, putting it into perspective. So I'm really wanting your insights and your help with this, because this is something that we need to do. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, teaching at the college level, I see people that, of course, have had a chance to cultivate more of their skills. So all is not lost. There's still a time to intervene. There's still a time to get in there, but we can't be just presumptive that AI is going to do it for us. We still need to know how to read. We still need to be able to work with the hallucinations that happen with AI. We need to check AI. So I'm just hoping that we can have a community here that really looks to figure out the best ways of making this work. So again, definitely check this out and talk about this in the comments about how can we balance what we offer to Gen Z, to Gen Alpha, to Gen Zalpha in terms of the power of the pen, in terms of the power of literacy, the power of language, the power of culture, because we know that writing and speaking and the written word and reading is a portal to culture. And some say that we are in a cultural decline. We're in cultural collapse. And I know that that can be a little bit like cool to say right now, or a lot of people do say it and they have that insight. But after saying it and after making a TikTok about it, after making a YouTube short about it, after making a long form YouTube video with some cool edits and cool graphics and effects, like what else are we doing about the issue? How can we make this work in school, especially right now when a lot of people aren't going to school? And I wonder what you think about that, like K-12 school, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. In this state where I live, they're actually considering paying, I think it's juniors and seniors. Nothing's been enacted in law yet, but paying juniors and seniors to go to school so that they can finish and actually graduate and be able to move on to the next level. We already know that when we don't have the literacy that we need, that there's a ripple effect, and this plays out into the economy. This plays out into the broader society and how we need to contribute. So this is a real issue. If you think that it's not, it is. And there are people laughing about it. There are people thinking that this is just something that you don't worry about, or that's a them problem, and we can get ahead in other places, other demographics, other people think that, but no, there's so much to do. So I'm just really wanting to know how you feel about this topic. And it makes me think back to my own book. My own book is based on letters. It's called the epistolary form, and the epistolary form is the letter form. And I didn't know it was going to happen like this, but my own book is based on that. My own book is a series of letters, and it's from one part of my psyche and soul to the other part of the psyche and soul. White Girl Within is the title. And so when Candace Owens was talking about Black culture, it's interesting because I have recollections on Black culture and just my experiences of being in a Black and male body. And then at the same time, I talk about being at odds with that because my interiority, from the way I've seen it, has been the exact opposite of that, identifying largely as white and female, believe it or not. So being white and female in my aspirations, but Black and male in my complications. And that's how I've said it before. It's how I'm saying it now. And I don't know if that's something that there's a whole other video that I can do on that, and I will do on that, but I don't know what that means about Black culture, what that means about white culture, what that means about intersectionality and identity, period. And just trying to reconcile the two in the way that's necessary. So I just put that out there. But back to this is about literacy. Capturing your thoughts in letters is powerful. Written letters, digital letters, but just making sure that you're getting the full gamut of it all. This is a call to action. So really, what can we do? Put that in the comments on how we can make learning cool again, how we can make writing cool again. And that's a part of this channel, making it all hip. And writing is something that happens across a number of spectrums. It's an everything. It's a living thing. It's a dynamic thing. It's not static. It's the real thing. So just a lot to say on that. I would love to know your perspectives. And again, thanks so much for checking in to this episode of Our Best Letters. There are other videos that I have too, where I talk about literacy. Today, this is definitely much more explicit and direct, but I've got other videos as well too, where I'm talking about literacy or I'm asking questions for your own perspective. So come back, hang out. A lot of times you're saying there aren't really any third spaces. Libraries are shutting down. We know that malls have closed down. We know that even when you do go out to certain places and to hang out, sometimes you have that fear of, all right, is someone turned up? Is someone gonna, pull out that pistol, pull out that pew, 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 whatever it is? Is someone doing something And there just aren't the third spaces like they used to exist. But this is our third space. This is a place, just come, grab your tea. I had some tea from Starbucks and probably about to go and get some now. Just grab a little bit of something chill, hang out, watch these vids. Check me out on ourbestletters.com. Hit me up on ronniegladden.com. I would love to go to your school, to your nonprofit, to your college, wherever it is, and talk more about the power of literacy, the power of language, the power of culture, the power of knowing how to read, the power of knowing your name, knowing your perspective. There's so much that exists in that. There's text, there's subtext, there's so much to talk about, all of it connecting to identity and the such. So you know how it is. Thanks so much for coming. Send me a letter. Later.